Part 76. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 753. With Azu as an example, Abai followed suit and verbally decided on her lifelong affairs. The matter of finding her son was also forgotten by them. Wang Yuyan looked on, a little anxious. He was not an orphan whose parents had died. His mother was still at home. He couldn't make a decision by himself. He just came here to get a token of love from Lu Feng and explain it when he went back. Miss Wang has something to say, but ETA Euro trademark s okay to say it. I feel embarrassed, so IA Euro trademark LL just let them out. Lu Feng said hello and asked everyone else in the camp to go out. Duan Yu originally wanted to stay here, but Dian Wei and Zhao Yun grabbed him and took him away. This thing without eyes, what the hell? Why don't you stay here and get in the way? Wang Yuyan didn't dare to speak until everyone had gone out. The young master is so majestic that no one else can compare with him. I have a mother in my family who is very strict and does not allow me to get involved in political affairs. Now that I have come out, I have disobeyed him. I hope that the young master will treat me the same way. Something, as a token between you and me, I can explain it to my mother when I get home. Wang Yuyan was still shy after all. She didn't say clearly what she meant, so she could only use other methods to get a token from Lu Feng. Don't worry, I will repair a letter now. You can take my jade pendant and go back. I will definitely ask my subordinates to pick you up in person. With my reputation, I believe your mother will not care about our marriage. Opinion. Lu Feng smiled and did not embarrass Wang Yuyan. After all, he was born in a noble family. He must be too shy to open his mouth about such things. Lu Feng had no reason to refuse these beauties who came to his door. Since the other party falling in love with themselves, then why should they hurt each other's heart? Regardless of their own danger, they came to this place in person and told Lu Feng about their marriage. If Lu Feng still refused, they were really not men. Mr. Duan is really shameless. I can't drive him away. I also ask Mr. Lu to find a way to stop him from following me. Nothing happened between me and him. I also ask Mr. Lu to believe in my innocence. Wang Yuyan seemed to suddenly remember something, and explained to Lu Feng that these days, although she was with Duan Yu, she had never crossed the line. He was still innocent. Don't worry, I believe you are innocent. As for Duan Yu, my people will stop him and he will not follow you again. After that, I will ask my escort to send you back in person, taking my right a letter to tell your mother the good news. Lu Feng walked over, took Wang Yuyan's little hand, felt the soft and boneless hands in his hands, and his heart was filled with excitement. This is the most beautiful woman in the entire Tianlongbabu. She has a fairy spirit and is not like a human being. Now treat her with all his heart, and with such a beautiful woman by his side, what man would not be moved? Lu Feng will definitely marry her back in 8 sedans, and when he leaves the world, he will definitely take Wang Yuyan with him. Lita Euro trademark Esco. Such a domineering declaration from Lu Feng also made Wang Yuyan a Euro trademark S face turn red with embarrassment. It was like a ripe red apple. It was so tempting that people couldn't Euro trademark T help but want to take a bite. He kissed her with one bite. This was considered a kiss. Dear Fangs, enjoy in advance. Young master a euro. Wang Yuyan's eyes were full of spring, and the girl's heart was also filled with spring at this moment. She knew what a hero was and what a man was. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 754. Lu Feng teased Wang Yuyan for a while, making her laugh non-stop, and then he let her go to rest and live with Azu Abi temporarily, and then send her back after 2 days. At this time, Duan Yu also noticed something was wrong. When he turned back and entered the camp, he saw the blush on Wang Yuyan's face and felt something bad. Originally, He wanted to catch up and talk to Wang Yuyan, but with a wave of Lu Feng's hand, Dian Wei and Zhao Yun grabbed Duan Yu tightly and prevented him from harassing Wang Yuyan again. "Mr. Lu, what does this mean? What do you want to do to me? I am the Prince of Dali. If you treat me like this, we in Dali will definitely not let you go." This is the first time Duan Yu has been so angry. Although he is a handsome young man, it cannot hide that he is from the royal family after all. The dandyism is in him. Although he does not show it, it does not mean that he does not have it. The two of Lu Liufeng, his subordinates, caught him without warning, and he was obviously very angry, but his current force value was too low to deal with Dian Wei and Zhao Yun, so he could only show off verbally. "I have no other meaning, I just want to tell you not to harass Wang Yuyan anymore. From now on, she is my fiancée, copyright you should be polite to my wife and keep a proper distance." Lu Feng warned Duan Yu that he had no control over what happened before, but now Wang Yuyan is his default wife. If Duan Yu dares to stick it up like this again, don't blame him for being rude. He doesn't mind deceiving Tianlong Bab. You kill one of the three brothers now. I am the Prince of Dali. What I want to do is my business. Why do you stop me? Doesn't a Euro trademark the Song dynasty not want to have a better relationship with our Dali? Duan Yu was very angry. He never thought that one day he would be threatened by others. He immediately raised the issue of national affairs and wanted to use his status as the prince to put pressure on Lu Feng. It's ridiculous that a mere Dali dares to be arrogant in front of the young master. For such a small place, our young master doesn't take it seriously at all. Don't be too self-righteous. Zhao Yun kicked Duan Yu in the leg and made him kneel down in front of Lu Feng. Lu Feng was the emperor. His territory was larger than the entire territory of the Song dynasty. How could he worry about a mere Dali? Who are you? Why is it so strong? Duan Yu was completely stunned. From that kick, he noticed how powerful Zhao Yun was. His deep inner strength was the strongest among the people he had ever seen. It was too powerful to be described in words. Such people are definitely not something that the Song dynasty can possess, but he has even met Jiao Feng, and he never thought that there is someone in this world that Jiao Feng can't beat. Now they don't even pay attention to the emperor of the Song dynasty. Here, Duan Yu couldn't help but wonder that they were not from the Song dynasty at all. What was the purpose of such people taking military power? Who are we? You can't control it, but you must listen to my warning. If you turn a deaf ear to my words, then you will know how simple it is for Dali to disappear from this world from now on. Lu Feng sneered. He didn't take Dali seriously at all, nor did he take Duan Yu seriously. So what if I hit you now? So what if eat a Euro trademark the whole of Dali? Lu Feng laughed loudly. This is not called being arrogant, but calling his strength out there. He is not allowed to keep a low profile. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 755. Duan Yu was stunned. This was the first time he had seen such an arrogant person. He thought he was from a noble family and always walked sideways outside. At worst, if he showed his identity, everyone would give him a three-pointer. Who would have thought that today in front of Lu Feng, his identity would be useless? He would not accept this trick at all. Duan Yu was a little panicked. I was talking nonsense. Please don't blame Mr. Lu. We can sit down and have a good talk. Duan Yu was sweating on his forehead and was thinking about how to remedy his mistake just now. The other party didn't care about the power behind him. He said something that offended others again. What should he do? I know very well what kind of person you are. Go back to Dali to accept your throne and handle your family affairs. If I see you using your identity to do mischief outside, don't blame me for being rude. Lu Feng gave him a cold look. After all, this brat is still young and has not experienced enough things, so he can be so easy to control. Let him go back to Dali now and don't come out to harm others. Duan Zhengchun and him, they are not good people. They go out to pick up girls every day, harm other girls, and don't a Euro trademark T recognize people when they put on their pants. With so many women around Lu Feng, there is never a time when he is irresponsible, and he looks down on men like Duan Zhengchun who don't a Euro trademark T even dare to take responsibility. He deserves it. He doesn't a Euro trademark T even have a son to inherit the throne. My family is very happy, there is no need for me to go back a Euro. You are not your father's biological child. Go back and ask your mother. You can go away. Lu Feng gave him a word and stopped looking at him. Zhao Yun immediately knocked Duan Yu unconscious, threw him out, put him in a sack, and handed him to one of the Longwu soldiers to perform long-distance tasks. In addition, 5 dragon martial soldiers were arranged as Wang Yuyan's personal bodyguards to escort Wang Yuyan back. Manchuo Villa is still a long way from the Central Plains. If Wang Yuyan, who does not know martial arts, is allowed to go back by herself along the way, I am afraid that she will not be able to go more than 3 miles. He was given to the Turan. Lu Feng asked Wang Yuyan to take the letter and jade pendant written by him. When he returned to Manchuo Villa, he gave them to Li Qingluo. After reading the letter, she would definitely marry her daughter to him. Wang Yuyan was naturally interested in Lu Feng. Wholehearted trust in such a world-famous hero is the one Wang Yuyan really wants to marry. She is a woman with a heroic complex. Originally, she thought that only Murongfu had a noble status and had lofty ideals for the restoration of the country. And Murongfu was the only man in the whole villa who was a well-known man. He was just the right age and had been praised many times by his mother. Many external factors made Wang Yuyan, who was not familiar with the world, mistakenly think that this was love. But in fact, when she and Duan Yu went out to see the world together, and she realized that it was just an illusion caused by external factors. The admiration for a great hero like Lu Feng is the real love, and it is the respect for the great hero. But also the admiration for strong men with masculine spirit and actual achievements. There are people protecting you on the road, so you don't have to worry about your safety. Their strength is definitely no less than any hero in the world. Lu Feng reassured Wang Yuyan that she would be able to return home safely. Wang Yuyan nodded shyly and agreed, looking at the man she truly admired lovingly, and with his help, she got into the carriage and prepared to go home to see her mother. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 756. Azu Abi looked at Wang Yuyan, who was so favored and was not jealous at all. Instead, she was worried about whether her sisters would not be well fed or clothed when they went on the road. The two of them gave Wang Yuyan a lot of advice. Wang Yuyan finally went on the road. 3 women admired the same man, which was particularly harmonious. General Kui stood behind and handed the prepared salute to the escorting Longwu soldiers. When he saw this scene, he couldn't help but give Lu Feng a thumbs up in secret. He is worthy of being a hero across the country. He is so capable. Such a blessing of bringing people together is not something that can only be obtained by envy. After Wang Yuyan was sent away, Azu Abi said that although they could also go to the battlefield, they were people with internal strength and were much more advanced than those soldiers of the Song dynasty. Asked team member Lu Feng to keep them by his side. Lu Feng didn't mind having 2 more beauties around him, so he agreed to them, but they couldn't do nothing, and if they were assigned a task, they couldn't complain. Don't worry, sir, my 2 sisters will never complain. In addition, I have a private matter to ask you. Azu and Abi both readily agreed, but Azu looked embarrassed and wanted to talk to Lu Feng alone. You are referring to the matter of your biological sister? Lu Feng didn't need Azu to bring it up to know that she must be talking about Azi. How could a sister who was still thinking about her sister's life when she was about to die give up looking for her just because the environment she was in was different now? Where is my sister? The young master has a clever plan. I have indeed lost contact with my sister since I was a child. I don't Euro trademark T know where she is now. If I can find her, it must be the appearance of Buddha. The young master has a noble status and has many subordinates. If I can help the slave family find my sister, it will be better than me finding a needle in a haystack. Azu never expected that Lu Feng actually knew about this matter, but no matter how she knew it, her whole mind was on her sister. If Lu Feng was willing to take action, she would be happy to do so. There are people around me who are good at collecting intelligence, and they also know a thing or two about your life experience. It will not be difficult to help you find your sister, but you should not be in a hurry and act rashly. Do you understand? It couldn't be easier for Lu Feng to find Azi. Anyway, he has already read the plot of Tianlongba by heart. If Azi doesn't show up, he can directly send people to the place where she will appear and forcefully kidnap her back. But he didn't want Azu to lose his ability to make correct judgments because of his sisterly relationship with his sister when he was looking for Azi. There was a war going on right now, and if Azu escaped from the battle for Azi's sake, it would be a violation of military discipline. Don't worry, young master, Sister Azu has never been an ignorant woman. Abi was also standing by to protect Azu at this time. The most dignified and generous one was Azu. She would never fail to understand what the overall situation is. Of course it's best. Come and take a look. This is the only place Zixia must pass to transport grain and grass. This is information obtained by our soldiers. It is very reliable. I just need manpower to investigate. If it can be confirmed, then an ambush was arranged at this place, trying to rob or burn their food and grass on the way. Lu Feng said hello, asked everyone around him to gather around, and pointed to a place in the sand table where a small red flag was inserted. This was a small road between the valleys. This strange road was about 30 meters away from their military camp. Not a short distance. 3 Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 757. After careful inspection, General Kui and others felt that this place was too far away from the military camp. Once an attack was launched, it would be difficult to get support from their own people. It takes a day's journey each way, so support is impossible. However, being able to steal the enemy's food and grass is a very tempting thing. If an attack is to be launched, it may only bring soldiers who are prepared to die. General Lu, I am willing to be the first person to voluntarily rob food and grass. General Kui is very proactive. Obviously, he also sees that this matter is not easy to handle. He takes the initiative to ask for help, hoping not to embarrass Lu Feng. If someone is unwilling, then at least he has him and can act as a single soldier. His personal strength is still very good. The previous alliance forces of Zixia and Liao, Yeluaguo and Jirdan were not bad people, but the two of them together could not escape from him alive. No wonder I have been able to work under Lu Feng for such a long time without being disliked to death by Dian Wei and Zhao Yun. Master, although robbing food and grass is very difficult, it can only be done. Why don't you let me go too? My Qinggong is pretty good. Just in case, the terrain of the valley is complicated. I followed the terrain and left. Others also you may not be able to catch up with me. Azu also knows that this matter is very dangerous. From the attitudes of General Kui and others, we can see how difficult it is, but she doesn't mind. In other words, she hopes that she can do it when she just arrives at Lu Feng's military camp. If you don't show off well and prove that you are not a vase, you can still play a role. Lu Feng just smiled. This silly woman, does she really think that the battlefield is such a simple place? People in the world will pay attention to morality and will let women, but it will not be like this on the battlefield. For those who have been on the battlefield for a long time, no matter who it is not one of your own, just a killing move, and there will be no redundant moves. What is important is a quick kill, which can only be done by a living person, qualified to continue to stand on the battlefield and have the opportunity to go home. Young master, please don't a euro trademark T disbelieve my sister. Among the sisters, only sister a euro trademark Zhu is the most capable. Even young master Murong has high praise for sister a euro trademark Zhu. I saw Lu Feng smiling and felt a little unconvinced. Their sisters were all convinced of Azu, so although they didn't say it explicitly, they were all willing to call Azu sister. The sisters were very obedient. Murong Fu, although it is not a good thing, when I leave something to Azu to handle, I feel very relieved and never feel that I have any worries. I know Azu is a capable girl, but going to the battlefield is no joke. You might as well be General Kui. Lu Feng said his thoughts directly, and his tone was to leave the matter to Azu. It would be better to let General Kui go. Why don't I act as a reinforcement and follow General Kui to the operation? When General Kui gives the signal, I will follow to help General Kui come back safely. Azu didn't say anything. Thinking about it carefully, she really has no experience in going to the battlefield. Maybe she can only make trouble if she goes there, so why not follow her as a support team? Lengthen General Kui's battle line and do it at a safe distance. To assist, this will not leave General Kui in an isolated and helpless situation. Miss Azu is so smart. I think this method will work a euro. General Kui was about to agree with Azu's idea, but he immediately shut up. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 758. General Kui seemed to feel Lu Feng's murderous eyes. He dared to drag his woman into the water. He probably didn't know how to write the word death. He quickly shut up and did not continue, for fear that he would be killed. I know what General Kui and Azu mean, but this valley is surrounded on all sides. Once you are chased, you will easily fall into a dead end during your escape. This has nothing to do with whether you show elongation or not, but should be dispatched with the ability to climb. The people at Shanbai are good. Lu Feng has already had an idea in his mind, and now he just listens to other people's opinions, but no one said they have relevant skills, so he can only think about it in the long term. I'm afraid that those who are not good at Qinggong will not be able to fulfill General Liu's request, but among us, I don't know whether General Dian Wei and General Zhao Yun are willing to take action. My subordinates believe that the two generals have incredible skills and are unstoppable in the world. General Kui looked around, focusing all his attention on Dian Wei and Zhao Yun. These are the two warriors who have been protecting Lu Feng. They are extraordinary. But they have only trained troops and led troops. I have never heard of these two. This made General Kui feel that they were overqualified. As long as these two people could take action, why Zixia and Liao were not in the bag? With such a good combat opportunity, of course the people below should be well trained. What's the point of letting the two guards like me take action? Of course Lu Feng knew that Dian Wei and Zhao Yun were absolutely unlucky when they took action, but if these Song soldiers could not be trained, how could he achieve his ultimate goal of unifying the world? He couldn't leave 50 Longwu soldiers here and change their professions. Please send the others here. If the local residents are of no use and rely on the job transfer hall every time, the world will be ruined. Young master, I heard some news on the road. I heard that Zixia, Liao, and other foreign countries hired people from the Jianghu to escort grain and grass, just to prevent accidents. If we let those Song soldiers go, we will die, so let us do it. Azu frowned. Only then did she remember that she had heard rumors along the way that Fan Bang had invited people to participate in the court affairs. Although Lu Feng had no substantial evidence for Azu's statement, I also think that this rumor may be true. For example, King Jinlun, he is more than just a top master in the world. In the world of Condor heroes, he is the national advisor of Mongolia, even a Mongolian soldier. He can also be mobilized according to his orders, which others would not dare to think of. In this case, let the team leaders form a team for this mission. Lu Feng thought about it, and there was no need to let those Song soldiers seek their own death. Anyway, if they really met a master, they would not be able to defeat them, but the selected team captains had a certain strength. They could not deal with the more outstanding people. But it is not a problem to deal with other people escorting the grain and grass. But since Xixia and other foreign countries have chosen to let people from the rivers and lakes escort the grain and grass, the original plan must be changed to an annihilation plan, without burning the grain and grass. Directly kill those who are escorting. And then bring back the food and grass safely to replenish himself. General Kui's strength can be considered fair, and Aju Abi and the others are not without available people. Just in case, just let Zhao Yun raid the formation to ensure the safety of his own people. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 759. Lu Feng did not intend to make Dian Wei and Zhao Yun famous. He did not think it was necessary, but it was still a good choice to let them take people out for training. The captains of each team are all talented people selected from 1,000. Although they are not top-notch, they still have their own abilities, otherwise they would not be captains. But if they suffer a lot of losses, it will be a pity for the entire army. Zhao Yun, when the time comes, you take them to the valley to rob food and grass. Remember, don't take action easily. After arriving in the valley, General Kui, you will be responsible for commanding the battle as the vanguard. Azu, you and Abai will lead another team to provide support. Any questions? Lu Feng made up his mind and decided to send out Zhao Yun beside him. Only a person of his strength can ensure that the process of robbing food and grass is foolproof and the losses can be minimized. Take the order. Everyone answered simply and neatly. No one would be dissatisfied with Lu Feng's order. This is the best arrangement. It can train the soldiers of the Song dynasty and prevent their own people from suffering excessive losses. This is the best arrangement. The valley is surrounded by trees on all sides, making it difficult to identify the direction. You must mark your mark in time after setting off to avoid losing your way. Unlike the enemy, you are going to this valley for the first time and are not familiar with the terrain. Careful. Lu Feng saw that the matter was almost settled, and told them not to underestimate the enemy. It is easy to get lost in this valley. If you are really lost in the valley, no one can save you. Zhao Yun is fine, Lu Feng has the system you can use the job transfer hall to bring him back, but others are not so good and they will definitely not be saved by then. Yes, my subordinates have remembered what General Lu said. General Kui's heart was filled with excitement. His immediate superior regarded his own life as his own. Only when he was taken seriously could his life be meaningful. Thank you for your concern, sir. Azu Abai bowed Ying, bowed her head shyly and agreed. Zhao Yun was more straightforward. He bowed his hands and had a firm look in his eyes. He didn't take this mission seriously at all. For a top master like him, even in the world of martial arts, for him, it's not just like playing. After a few people said this, they went out to select captains suitable for this task to form a new temporary team. They also specifically let them understand how serious this task was, and the possibility of not coming back was extremely high. You don't a Euro trademark T have to go if you want. But surprisingly, these people all wrote suicide notes and entrusted their parents to trusted brothers. No one backed down. They were completely different from the cowardly Songbing a few months ago. You behave like this, very well, like a man. General Kui was so arrogant. For the first time, he felt that his subordinates were giving him face. This group of men had finally changed. They were no longer the weaklings who could spit on anyone before. Listen. Set off. After the simple reorganization of the army, Kuijinjin and Azuabi nodded and took a step ahead. Azuabi brought another team with a heavier load as support. The distance was only 2/4 of an hour to arrive. The distance is not too close and not too far, just enough to support each other perfectly. Zhao Yun was in General Kui's team, but he did not join them after setting off. Instead, he entered the valley in advance to find out what the route was like. Avoid being unfamiliar with it and the gutter capsizes. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 760. Of course, General Kui and others had no ability to control where Zhao Yun went. They could only follow as closely as possible. If they couldn't keep up, there was nothing they could do. They could only follow as much as possible based on the clues Zhao Yun left. After all, only Zhao Yun can find where the grain and grass team is in the shortest time. Currently, there is insufficient information to determine which way in the valley the grain and grass team will enter and exit. There are many caves here, and there may be routes they don't know that they can travel through freely. In order to avoid that situation, they can only move at high speed to buy time. Fortunately, the enemy's team transporting grain and grass was too large, moved slowly, and had too many people, leaving many traces along the way. Judging from the messy footprints and the ruts used to transport grain and grass, they were in a great hurry this time and seemed to be in a hurry. Although they tried their best to cover up their marching route, they still left enough room for tracking. Zhao Yun followed it very simply, leaving marks along the way so that General Kui could follow him. An hour later, the sun hung high in the sky, causing many people to sweat. Even Ajuabi and others in the shade in the distance were sweating all over. The temperature here was so high that not even a bit of wind could penetrate the valley. Only when passing through the cave can you feel the wind coming in. The structure of this valley is special. Each cave entrance connected to the outside world has become a passage. The mountain wall itself is very strong, blocking the wind from all directions. Ajuabi saw that the brothers behind her were all carrying a lot of things, so they marched very slowly and tried to take more convenient roads to avoid paralyzing the brothers before they could support General Kui. After another quarter of an hour, Zhao Yun stopped tracking and stood high on top of a huge stone, staring fiercely at the group of people resting below. Those people were the people responsible for transporting grain and grass in Zixia. They looked very tired. They didn't Euro trademark know how long they had not had a good rest in order to transport grain and grass. Brothers, hold on a little longer. After sending this food and grass, we can have a good rest. The Imperial Master said that not only can we rest, but we can also get double rewards. There was a man standing at the front riding a war horse. Unlike the others, he was in good spirits. He turned around and spoke encouraging words to the others. But the soldiers who had relied on their own strength to survive until now did not want to pay attention to him. Not everyone can complete the task just by riding a horse. Zhao Yun observed carefully and found that there was a carriage in the middle that contained the least amount of food and grass, and there were 4 people guarding it. It seemed that the food and grass were dispensable. These 4 people walked steadily, breathed calmly, and there was no look of fatigue on their faces. The clothes on their bodies didn't even have a patch. They just deliberately wore the same soft armor as the soldiers around them who were responsible for escorting food and grass. Obviously, the 4 of them were the people in the Jianghu who were in charge of the middle section had little food and fodder in the carriages they followed because there was no need for them to guard them. They were just pretending to be low-level soldiers. The Zixia people deliberately hid these masters who were really responsible for escorting the food and fodder and let them pretend after that, A sudden attack caught those who wanted to gain food and grass by surprise. If Zhao Yun hadn't come to check in person, he might not have been able to find out that there was something fishy here. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 761. Zhao Yun did not take it lightly, but continued to check if there were anyone else around him. He soon discovered that there were not only 4 masters in the middle, but also masters at the end. At the end of the team transporting grain and fodder, in a position least likely to be ambushed, there were 6 masters with sharp eyes and arms longer than the knees. At first glance, they were good at using the through-arm boxing. What kind of person can hire such a master of martial arts as a bodyguard? It seems that he is a master from the Central Plains, and definitely not from Xixia. This is strange. How can people from the Central Plains help Xixia Fanbang? Zhao Yun frowned. It seemed that these people were not too stupid. They knew that no matter which path they took, food and grass were the top priority, so they sent so many experts. But these people are all Han Chinese. Should he order General Kui to kill them all? That's all, they are all enemy soldiers. The worst thing is to capture one of them alive and question him. Now that they were competing on the battlefield, Zhao Yun couldn't help but think about what was useful and what was useless. He decided to give priority to completing the task, but with his skill, he could also capture a person alive for questioning. General Kui quickly followed. Coming up, he took a look at the mark left by Zhao Yun, paying attention to the 4 people in the middle and the 6 people at the end. These are all masters. Brothers, don't be impulsive later. There are masters in the team. Teams 1, 8, and 14 will work with me to deal with the masters, and the others will adapt accordingly. General Kui quickly made additional arrangements for these masters. Among the teams, the captains of these 3 teams have real skills. Although they cannot definitely kill each other together, holding them back is not a problem at all. Take advantage of this opportunity. Others can kill the other soldiers responsible for guarding the grain and grass, and Zhao Yun will definitely not watch them in the dark and do nothing. With the support behind him, General Kui will be bolder to take action. The soldiers of Xixia were about to stand when they got up to reorganize the team. General Kui suddenly descended from the sky with human and divine soldiers, frightening their formation into chaos. Only the 10 masters and the leader calmly reorganized the team. The 10 masters originally guarded a section, but General Kui deliberately the brothers rushed out separately, and the large forces were in front to attract firepower and feign to attack. When the 10 masters thought that only these people rushed forward to help other Xixia people, he appeared with the most important combat power and gathered these people who had already taken the initiative. Surrounded by masters together. Who? The shortest man among them exclaimed, looking at General Kui and others with vigilance written all over his face. It's ridiculous that you have the nerve to ask this question. Fortunately, you are still a Han, but you actually work for these foreign countries. You don't understand what benevolence and righteousness are, and what brothers are. You deserve to die. General Kui hates this kind of people deeply. He doesn't help his compatriots, but he still stands up against them. What things have these foreigners done to the Han people that are outrageous to both humans and gods? Do you still need him to help popularize science? These masters among the Han people, not only did he not feel sad for the hatred of these enemies of the country, he actually fought for them. Wasn't he helping Fan Bang beat his own people? How could General Kui endure it? He cursed loudly, and then punched him. The dwarf obviously underestimated the enemy and couldn't dodge. Could only resist forcefully, folding his hands on his chest, using his powerful internal strength as a solid defense, and was beaten back with a bang. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong wine burns the heart. Chapter 762. The short man was so shocked that he took more than 10 steps back. He didn't know that there was such a master. "Are you not a member of the martial arts world?" the dwarf said in surprise. "Judging from the way General Kui is dressed, he doesn't look like a man from the world at all, and he doesn't have the casualness of a reckless hero. He looks more like he comes from a regular army. But such a person actually has such good skills, how can he make?" the dwarf nod, shocked. "I am Han Chinese. But I think you are Fanbanga Euro trademark S-Dog." General Kui shouted angrily. The sword in his hand was sharp, and he fought with these people. The other captains saw that General Kui was on the attack, so they couldn't give up. The 10 masters immediately started fighting with them, and they could no longer care about anything else. They were beaten. General Kui's separate large force concentrated on robbing the grain and grass. These people were all captain-level people, and compared with the other people escorting the grain and grass, they were all good soldiers. The leading Xixia general was anxious and rushed out to fight, killing everyone, but Zhao Yun will not guard him and kill him with an arrow from a distance. "The general is dead." Someone saw the scene and yelled. The other Xixia people were shocked. The leader was dead. What was the point of escorting the grain and grass? They would only be killed if they stayed here. As someone shouted, the others knelt down and surrendered. They even threw away the weapons in their hands, actively trying to ask General Kui's men to spare their lives. But General Kui didn't give an order, and they wouldn't stop. They didn't need to fight when they saw someone kneeling. The military exploits that could be cut off by one's life were not even waited for the Xixia people to finish their words, and they killed the opponent with one strike. The 10 masters were stunned, and all of a sudden they failed, and all the people they brought were dead. There is definitely no way to send food and grass there. Walk. With a loud shout, these people fled in one direction in a tacit understanding. Those caves were obviously connected to the outside world. The breeze hanging from inside also blew on the faces of General Kui and others. They could clearly feel it. Thoughtful path. Where to run? At this time, Aju Abi came with support. The two of them tacitly blocked the nearest caves to prevent these masters from escaping. It was difficult for them to defeat 4 hands with 2 fists. When these people saw hundreds of people in front of them, they were stunned. It is not easy to break through, so we can only have a few people working together to break through. Seeing that although Aju Abi is a woman, her steps are solid and she has skills, so she will not go to the cave guarded by these 2 women, but other places. They tried to break through. General Kui and Aju Abi had limited numbers. They stopped 8 of them, and 2 others were about to escape from the most remote cave. At this time, it was Zhao Yun who took action. "Walk. Who gave you the courage?" Zhao Yun snorted coldly, and struck with lightning speed and calmness. The 2 men didn't even know which direction Zhao Yun came from, so their eyes darkened and they fainted. The other 8 masters took a breath of air. Good skill. They secretly thought that Zhao Yun was amazing. He knocked the 2 people unconscious without seeing anything. This showed that they could easily capture them alive. The dwarf stopped arguing at this time. He knew that Zhao Yun was there and he could. These people were all in their pockets, and whether they could leave or not was all up to him. Looking at the Song soldiers who had been killed and wounded by them, he could only sigh. He originally thought he could escape, but now he saw, come on, I'm not serious about playing with you at all.